This is a Subaru WRX STI, and it's actually quite affordable and reliable. Behind me is a Subaru WRX STI JDM Hawkeye. That's a mouthful. Anyway, I've always been more of an Evo fan myself, but out of all the Subarus, this is one of my favourites. As I said, this is a JDM version, so there's quite a few differences between this particular car and the UK versions. Let me go through them now. The main difference being, amongst other things, is the engine. This is an EJ207 2 litre, whereas the UK got a 2.5 litre. There's a few other differences with the engine. One being it has a higher red line, revs up to 8,000 instead of 7,000, and it has a twin scroll turbo, which means it spools up better, better responsiveness, just generally better. Both the JDM and the UK model had the typical Japanese power figure of 276 brake horsepower, although the Japanese had more torque at 311 pound-feet compared to the UK's 289 pound-feet. As well as the differences I already mentioned, the JDM car also is slightly lighter, about 30 kilos lighter. It also has stronger internals in that EJ207, has shorter gearing, has slightly different LSDs compared to the UK model, has a smaller fuel tank, it has 50 litres compared to the UK's 60 litres, and stiffer suspension from factory because the UK car had sort of softer suspensions, more suitable for UKB roads. But generally, the JDM one is seen as the better, the more purist choice. Another difference is that this car has equal length headers, so it doesn't sound like your typical Subaru rumble. It sounds like this. Also has xenon headlights and JDM rear tint or privacy glass. Has a needle sweep on startup, a faster steering rack, a rear wiper on the rear window, obviously it's rear wiper, and it's JDM, so it's just generally cooler. As this is a JDM Subaru, of course it's been modified, not a lot, lightly, but it does produce 361 brake horsepower and 370 pound-feet of torque, and as a Subaru it goes to all four wheels. So in general, I think these cars look really good. I really like it in the silver. It's a bit more mature than the standard blue, which I'd probably have it in, to be honest. And it also says STI about 50 times. I'll put in all the clips where it says it, but a lot of times. Let's walk around, look at some of the details of the car. So we've got signature bonnet scoop, very Subaru, lovely. Come to the front, STI and a nice front lip. Moving round, signature gold STI wheels, well Subaru wheels, but STI, it says it there, in case you didn't know. Mud flaps, also says STI on the back. This roof spoiler, as well as the signature Subaru boot spoiler, which I do love. A big Subaru exhaust, and JDM style, well, it's a JDM car, so JDM rear plates and front plates. We've also got these little vents here, and rally car, general, just wide arches, very squared off, boxy, big fan of them, I think they look really good. Right, enough yapping, let's go for a drive. All right, driving the Subaru WRX STI JDM. My first impressions, I love it. Indicators are on the other side, so I've already done the wipers about 3 times. I will say I much prefer them being on this side. It makes more sense when you change your gear, left hand, you can actually indicate with your right hand. Visibility is actually quite good. These mirrors will be quite small, good visibility. The car feels very small on the road, but in a good way. It's 4-door, you would have thought it was quite big, but actually it feels quite small. But I guess that's older cars for you. I'm going to pop her down to second and give her a little go. Wow. That turbo comes on so quick. Wow. It does rev all the way up to 8,000. The owner says after about 7,000 there's not much point. The turbo sort of loses legs, but that felt really good. This particular car has the STI DCCD, which is the differential, I'm going to read this, the driver controlled center differential. And basically, apparently online, this gets misconstrued quite a lot. Richard Hammond quite famously got this wrong on Grand Tour. So basically, people think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but people think that it changes the way the torque is split between the front and the rear. But what it actually does, it changes how aggressively the two LSDs lock up, which can make it feel like the power is being more to the front or more to the front, more to the rear. But what it's actually doing is just changing how they're locking up. That is what I found out online. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, that is what the Subaru geeks are saying. The car is lightly modified by that, so it has a fuel pump, an exhaust and some teen lowering springs, or tine, however you want to say it. I think it looks a lot better, and an exhaust, I think this is sort of a perfect tone for a Subaru. And as I said, it's got equal length headers, so it doesn't have that sort of typical rumble, but I think it sounds really good. Just gonna slow down slightly and give it a little another go on boost. It's quite easy to rev match in this and heel and toe, which is fun. All right, let's go. That's pretty addictive. That turbo spools up so fast. That might be one of the best gearboxes I've used, and I had a Honda S2000 for 3 years, and this is up there for sure. Interior wise on the car, I think it's aged quite well. This car's, what, 19 years old. I think it's quite nice in there. I really like the blue seats, set off against the silver. It says STI about 50 million times, like I said, on the steering wheel, on the dials, on the seats. So you know what you're driving, which I always think is fun and makes you feel like a bit of a special place to be. It is a bit Japanese, a little bit rattly, but not too bad. It's kind of what I'd expect. But as far as Japanese interiors go, it's definitely one of the better ones. Like I say, these blue hits in the door cards, on the seats, the floor mats, big fan. I think these cars are actually very reasonably priced. As I said in the intro, definitely one of the most affordable JDM cars, at around £15,000, give or take. I think that's a lot of car for the money, especially being a JDM import and, well, a rally legend. And with this performance as well, for £15,000, that is very good. Maintenance-wise, being a Subaru, it's kind of expensive, but it's not too bad. These 2 litres are a lot more reliable than the 2.5s you can get from the UK ones. So that is another positive of getting the JDM one, as well as the tax is a lot cheaper being an import. If you had to have the UK 2.5 from 2006, it is around £700 a year. But but this one being a JDM is around £360 a year, so it's a lot cheaper. If you are looking at buying a JDM car, whether it's this one or an Evo or whatever it may be, rust is very, very important, and is sort of the worst thing with any Japanese car, so be careful. But this car is actually very good condition, very clean underneath, no rust. Fuel efficiency wise, as you may expect for a performance car, especially one with a bigger fuel pump and slightly modified, not very good. I think it averages around 18 to 20 mpgs on sort of combined, but when you're hooning it, you can get it down to 10 and below. But, you know, it's not what you buy one of these cars for, but it's good to know going into it if you're looking at buying one. Being a Subaru video, I can't not mention reliability, and in the same breath, I can't not mention head gaskets. But the owner tells me this car's been very reliable for him. The only problem he's had is the clutch, which he's replaced. Other than that, very reliable. And this particular engine, I've done a lot of research online, and generally doesn't seem to eat up the head gaskets as much as some of the other cars. Turning circle test. Oh my lord. I'm full lock right now, on the other side of the road. Where's the reverse? No, I don't need it. I'm going to reverse onto the main road. Right, that turning circle sucks. I started this video by saying it's an affordable JDM legend, and I really think it is. This car for around £15,000, it's a JDM import, it's fast, decently reliable, looks great. I mean, you can't really buy any other car in this class for this money. Look at the Evos, they're 25 plus now for a good one. This sitting at about £15,000. This particular one maybe a bit more, but around £15,000 you can get one of these cars. When these cars hit 25 years old and the Americans can get their hands on them, I think the prices are going to go up a lot more. I think they're going to be 20 grand minimum, especially for a JDM import one. So if you can afford to buy one now, and you are looking at buying one now, I think now's probably the best time. And before the government tries to ban all internal combustion engines, go get a Subaru. And that's coming from me, who prefers Evos. This car has one of the coolest buttons on any car in the world. It's a intercooler spray down here, so you can spray water to cool down your intake temps. and I just think that's the coolest thing ever. Absolutely love it. The inner child in me comes out when I see that button. I did mention this car has an exhaust. It is actually a full Miltech system and it sounds so good. The two highlights for me so far will be the gearbox. I think it feels so good. The exhaust tone, that Miltech exhaust, I think it sounds so good. It doesn't have that typical Subaru rumble, but you can tell it's a Subaru because it's got that boxer rumble, but it's not a lazy sounding. It's very like almost exotic. I really like the sound of it. Steering feels really quick. I know it says it's got a faster rack. Might be a bit of placebo because I've read that online about the JDM one, but it does feel really quick around those corners. Brakes feel really good, very responsive, nice brake pedal feel. This car's actually really fun and engaging to drive. I'm thoroughly enjoying it around these roads. And I can add that the owner doesn't vape or drink any Monster. I think it's one of the best value JDM cars you can go buy right now, and I think you should go buy right now. I absolutely loved it, and like I say, I still prefer Evos probably. I'm an Evo man. I've never driven one. If you've got one, let me know. But yeah, check out the YouTube channel. The owner that lent me this car does some great stuff. I'll leave a link in the description. I also reviewed a GR Yaris recently, which is also an all-wheel drive rally car if you like. So go check that out. More car content coming your way. So yeah, subscribe, like, all that jazz. Cheers. It's around 360, I'm making it up, what is it? When these cars hit 25 years old and the Americans get that might be one of the best it up.
So annoying.
Drop me subscribe, more, I'll cut there. What am I yapping on about now? Check that out. And I also reviewed an Evo, which is kind of similar. An Evo, a fucking GR Yaris.